Hey everyone! Welcome to this week's installment of Obscura Undead Weekly Update. I am Azzy.
And I'm Mouse.
And it is World Goth Day. Happy World Goth Day! In honor of the fancy holiday, I have decided to wear my goth work clothes, which are pink.
I did nothing. That's different at all.
That's not true, you have fur on your head. Anyway, we are your weekly roundup of band tour news and music news. So on this week's show, we are going over some news from the Nosferatu. That is the Nosferatu. Shakespeares Sisters, some Kill Shelter news, a bunch of Drab Majesty news. Maybe too much Drab Majesty news.
There's never too much Drab Majesty news.
All right. And who are we reviewing this week?
Let's see. We've got 5 albums to review this week. VR Sex, Closed Mouth, Vague Scare, Second Still, and Cliff and Ivy.
Alaska's only goth duo.
Alaska's only goth duo.
All right. And stick around to the end of the video where we announce the giveaway for Hante's most recent album, Aunt's most recent album, Fierce. So let's get right into the news. So, speaking of the Nosferatu, this is...
I've been saying the Nosferatu, but whatever.
It's the, it doesn't matter. The whole point is that the is there. Because this
is there.
This is not the same as
Nosferatu,
the 90s band that recorded such hit albums as Rise and Prince of Darkness and Wonderland. No. This is the Nosferatu, which is a reforming of the earliest days of the band, actually, with Vlad Janacek, one of the founding members, and one of the vocalists, what is his name? DeRay, I think.
Louis DeRay.
Is it Louis or Louis?
It could be Louis. Because that would be vampy enough.
Yeah, Louis DeRay. And they're coming back and reforming as the Nosferatu, which bill themselves as a return to the 100% no-compromise gothic rock that made the Legend and Rise albums what they were. And Janacek is going to be on bass, DeRay on vocals, Rob Layden of Red Sun Revival on guitar, and Chris Clark of Alien Creation on drums. And you may be wondering why this is all significant. Well, I have a little bit of a history lesson, because it is a little bit confusing. So, Nosferatu, not the Nosferatu, but Nosferatu, they formed in the late 80s, early 90s. It was Vlad Janacek, Damien DeVille, and Sapphire Aurora. In 1994... they released their second album, and DeRay had been singing on the first 2 albums. And they broke up, and, there was no more Nosferatu. But then Damien DeVille, decided to reform the band, and Vlad Janacek got a little mad, tried to sue abandoned proceedings because legal expenses are, expensive. And, DeVille went on and recorded Prince of Darkness, which is my favorite Nosferatu album, and Lord of Flies, and then DeRay did end up rejoining the band as vocalist in 2002, and he was the primary songwriter on Wonderland. And this is long and rambly, but the point is that you have Nosferatu, which has one of the original founding members, which is DeVille, and the Nosferatu, which is going to be, and has reformed with another one of the founding members, plus the original singer,
I
DeRay,
just want to know if the sound
Janacek.
is truly going to go back to what they were like when they released Rise and Prince of Darkness.
Well, I have faith. I think that this is really interesting. They're going to be performing their first live show at the Underworld in Camden later this year on November 29th. I mean, if I could be in Camden for that, I would totally go because I have faith in them. I bet you it's going to be awesome.
But luckily, we have the internet.
We do have the internet, so if you go, please record lots of footage and upload it, and we will watch the shit out of it.
All right.
And speaking of bands returning, I think you had some big news on that front.
Yes. Shakespeares Sister. One sister.
One sister. Oh.
Shakespeares Sister. Well, there's 2 ladies in the band, but the
Hence
band
my
is
confusion.
called Shakespeares Sister, have returned. So
After 20 some odd years?
25 years,
25?
I do believe.
Well, what's important is that they have a new track, right?
They do. And the track is called All the Queen's Horses. There's a music video out for it. It's very, can we say country goth again?
Yeehaw.
There's got to be a better name for this. Like desert goth, southern goth.
Desert goth.
I don't know. It would fit right in with Ritual Howls and...
For a album. For an album.
For a song. Well, the song, it was like that. So that's all I know right now.
Okay.
They're upcoming.
But what you're telling me is that it's not like Stay, the only Shakespeares Sister song.
It's nothing
that I
like
know.
Stay. And what's funny is when you watch the music video, it has one of them walking into a bar and the other one's a bartender, and they look at each other and then they have flashbacks to the video Stay. Like, how awesome is that? They're like, ah!
So it really is a reunion.
It really is. It's really
awesome.
fun. So I don't have any background on if they split up or whatever, but they're back together, and they're going to be releasing an album, which I believe may actually be a greatest hits album, out on July 19th called Singles Party. So looking forward to that. But this is All the Queen's Horses is a new original song, so there may be more new original songs.
They're telling us that, and All the Queen's Men will never put Shakespeare's Sisters together again. Is that bad?
Oh my God.
That's really
Don't
bad.
quit your day job. All right. That's it.
I know, that was really lame.
What other news?
Kill Shelter is releasing a 7-inch, or I think they have already
They have released it already.
It is a 7-inch vinyl. The A-side is In Decay, featuring Delphine Coma. And the B-side is Bodies, Buzzcall, featuring Buzzcall.
Those are, to me, the 2 best tracks.
The 2 absolute best tracks
on
off
the
of
album.
Damaged. Yeah. And it comes in white. Oh, I want the white so bad. I think it also comes in red.
And it comes in clear, and it comes in red, and I still haven't bought it because I can't decide.
Just buy all of them. And just have like a rainbow on your wall.
Kind of.
So that's really cool. I haven't seen any bands doing that sort of thing where they release a 7-inch of
The
just
best tracks.
Their single tracks off, because those were the single tracks for Damage that released last year. And Kill Shelter is this project of Pete Burns of Rule of Three, who do music reviews. We talked about the Veer Kellerkinder project last week, which is Christian, the other half of Rule of Three.
And Pete Burns actually masters one of the albums that we're going to review a
Yes.
little bit later on the show.
And that is Pete Burns of Kill Shelter, not Pete Burns dead or alive, who is all just dead. He's not
Definitely
Schrodinger's
dead,
Pete
yeah.
Burns. He's definitely dead.
Different Pete Burns.
Different Pete Burns. And on to the ton of Drab Majesty news that we have.
Yes.
So really exciting is Molchat Doma, which is a band from Belarus. They're on
Detridy Records.
they're on Detridy. Is it Detridy or Detridy? Oh, but they're on Detridy Records, and they released an album late last year, and it has gotten so much buzz, and it's an amazing album. And they posted a text chain with Drab Majesty last week, where Drab Majesty basically is. I'm gonna read it right here. It's just like, "What's your email? Thank you, cheers." And then,
And then Drab Majesty says, "I love you guys. My new favorite band. I hope to bring you to the States."
to the States. I would love to see a Drab Majesty Molchat Doma tour. So 2020 maybe?
Maybe. We say that because there is a North American tour already planned, just posted after we saw that bit of news. North American and European Drab Majesty tour was posted. So look for that, look that up. We might even post the link down below.
They're not coming anywhere near Florida, unless you count Atlanta.
Nope, but we could go visit New Orleans.
That's true.
That would be a
Narlands.
nice, fun trip. Nolans.
That would be a great trip. We went to go see them last year in October. We waited so long not October. Was it October? No, I meant Orlando, not October.
It was in Orlando. It was in June of last year.
June.
And it was a very hot, very cramped venue.
The sound was off. Deb kept trying to signal them to change it. We had to buy bootleg tickets. Well, not bootleg, scalped tickets.
We paid a lot for the tickets, but we saw our Drab Majesty and we were front row center.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their Florida appearance, and we may not see them again for a while.
I really hope that, they aren't hitting Florida because of, no one was able to book them, and not because they just never want to return after that. It was so
please
hot.
come back to Florida.
Please come back to Florida. And then what to look forward to in the next week, just to round out our news. On May 28th on Cold Transmission, there is Els and the Cult. They have a mini remix EP. And anything else? So I'm sure there's some more stuff. If we run across anything else between recording and posting the vid, we will throw it down in the comments. And maybe I'll get our list updated. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, and before we cut to get into the reviews, we just want to say that this episode there may be a dry spell for about 3 weeks, depending on if we can record more content while we are in Germany and get it updated or uploaded, because we're both going to be at Treffen.
Yeah.
And we're not quite sure what our schedule is going to look like, but follow us on our social media platforms, and we will try not to forget to keep you guys posted, because we might be having too much fun. Yeah.
Oh well, sorry.
You
can't come with us.
Mm-mm. In spirit.
But we'll try.
Yeah, we'll try. We promise. We have 5 reviews. First off, we're going to start with VR Sex, their latest release, Human Traffic Jam. This released on the 17th?
I thought it was the 13th.
Was it the 13th?
It's the week of May 13th to 17th. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, May 10th. It released on May 10th on Deus Records. I know that one. And if you haven't seen us talking about VR Sex on any of our other videos, we bring them up way too much. This is the project of Noelle Scum, who is better known as Deb Demure, or Andrew Klinko. Z Oro, maybe it's Zorro, who is Aaron Montaigne of Antioch Arrow, Heroin, DBC, and Miko Frost, who is Brian Tarney. And they had released an EP earlier this year called Horseplay, which we reviewed. And
now the new album is out.
And it's very much a conceptual piece.
It is extremely conceptual, and it ties together with the name VR Sex. I guess you know more about that because you were actually listening to the lyrics. I couldn't even hear the lyrics because the vocals are super distorted, super reverbed throughout the whole thing. But I guess you said there's a story underlining all the tracks.
Yeah, if you listen to the songs, like I couldn't really hear Surrender, but Sacred Limousine, which that was the music video that we reviewed, that was about picking up prostitutes, and then I guess taking them back to a hotel and just doing weird voyeuristic things.
Yeah, I think the idea is having some kind of expression through this abstract media where your identity is hidden, so you're free to divulge in fantasies, deviations. Although honestly, the fantasies and deviations on this album are, in my opinion, a little tame. You have the track Made in China, which is Maiden, like a young woman, China, and it's about mail order Chinese and Russian brides and like much, much, much older husbands, which, yeah, that's pretty tame. I'm sure there's more to it. This is based on just what we can hear of the lyrics because the lyrics aren't posted. And then there is was it cheek detritus? Cheek detritus? With detritus? Is that's the... You said it was about plastic surgery.
Well, there was also one that was about sort of a professor and a beautiful 18-year-old blonde child student. Just a lot of the songs just deal with this some kind power dynamic
and some kind of perversion.
Yeah, and some kind of perversion.
So regarding the music, I listened to some tracks where I thought it definitely sounded very 90s grunge.
Yeah, especially like right in the guitars, they were pretty dense and garage rock in a lot of places.
Very garage rock. And what happens with the guitar is laying on top, and it's very heavy and very reverbed, but at the same time you still hear those Drab Majesty like wave melodies, which are really beautiful. I appreciate that juxtaposition in style. And then you've got these tracks in between that are like ambient noise that break up the album. I'm not sure about putting them all throughout the album.
I don't know. Maybe it's
I would have preferred
maybe it's a
them only at
metaphor
the
for
end.
edging.
Maybe. I thought that the way the first half of the album had songs with an actual chorus and everything. You had Surrender, and you had Sacred Limousine and Made in China. Those were all the first half of the album. And then when you got to the last half of the album, you have these long, drony, sludgy, ambient
I think
songs.
You're thinking specifically of the last track, which is Corridor, which is 8 minutes, and it's...
No, well, Psycho-Cybernetics was ambient noise with some spoken word over it.
Yeah.
About Cheek Detritus was minimal rock, samples over noisy wave guitar. There was at least 3 songs in the last half of the album. So the way I felt was the whole VR sex concept. You go into this world, you have like your fantasy, you have this high happening, and then afterwards it's like post-coital euphoria, and you just like slide on out of reality.
It definitely kind of felt that. Like it definitely has a climax to the album and then a long 8-minute outro.
Yeah. All right. Favorite tracks?
Made in China.
Made in China. Okay.
Yours?
I'm gonna say Surrender, because that is the first track on the album, and I was just so excited to hear it. I think it dropped a little early, and I listened to it pretty often, and yeah, that's the one I like the best.
I just really like Made in China. I don't think it's as much of a banger as Landmine was off of the Horseplay EP.
Nothing on this album is as much a banger as Landmine.
Yeah, that's a really good track. But if you listen to this album, don't listen to it piecemeal necessarily. I think you really need to listen to it from start to finish to get the full effect of it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely have to listen to it in order.
That's VR Sex. And next we're going to talk about a band that I think both of us were a little lukewarm on. And that was Vague Scare.
Vague Scare. Okay, so what do we know about Vague? Vague Scare are from France. They are a duo. That's all I know about them.
Well, this is their second album. It was released on May 17th. It's called Dissemblance. And the album opens with these really wobbly, distorted synths that caught my attention right away. And I was just like, oh, this is interesting. Like, this isn't just a little wobble. This is like drunk at 3 a.m., like trying to open your car door wobble.
I think it was a little wobble. So in my notes, I had noted that they were wobbly synths, wobbly vocals, and it was such a minor bit that you're like, am I hearing this right? Like, you know when you have something on VHS and you know what it's going for, but then it's still a little kind of wonky?
You're trying to like do the knob to get it a little bit better.
Yeah, was that a pencil you had to use for? Oh no, I'm thinking of a cassette tape when it gets stuck.
No, I can't remember what that knob was, but you know the knob, and you like watch the tape to make sure that like the weird like sketchy black like static bars are normal. Yes. So that opens up with Modern Carousel. I think that might be the best track on the entire album.
I think it's absolutely the best track on the album. Subdued synths. I don't want to call this minimal wave. It's more like minimal post-punk. But the thing that stood out the most to me was these vocals. Like, and I think the delicateness.
That's a food word.
Sorry. Of the vocals are kind of like how David Bowie is, or Peter Murphy, you know, just that elder goth wobble. So that's throughout, but in some songs it's lighter and weaker, and in other songs it's a little bit stronger.
I think weaker's a good word for that. I think that the vocals could have been a little bit stronger. I'm not sure if this was an aesthetic choice throughout the album, but I felt as though a lot of the vocals landed really flat in their wobble, but at the same time the synths were also in some places kind of flat. So I'm not sure if it was an aesthetic choice, like it was intentional, or, and I hate to be mean about it, the singer needs to sort of work on projection, but
yeah, I think there was one track, Shining Shield, that I think relied too much on the vocal performance, and so because that song was pretty much just only like drums. So songs like that didn't work, but there were other songs like Modern Carousel and Instant Insight. Okay, sure. That were like moody dark wave, post-punk, and those worked rather well.
I liked Instant Insight.
Yes, I thought so too. I liked it a lot.
Actually, I think I'm going to change that. I think that might have been my favorite track.
Oh, really?
That might have been.
Okay.
Because I remember that I was listening through it, and that's the one that really stood out to me. I felt as though a lot of the sort of vocal and instrumental harmonies were just really nice on that track.
I agree. Okay.
I think that this band is out on a Swiss label, GPS Productions. Yeah, and we'll link that below.
Closed Mouth.
Closed Mouth. This was another interesting album. This one also had some interesting vocal stylings.
This one grew on me. So because it changed through several listens, I think I may need to listen to it more. So
it grew on me through as the album progressed. So this album is called One, and it is remastered by Pete Burns, who we mentioned earlier of Kill Shelter.
Now, Closed Mouth is also cold wave post-punk from France. Am I right in that? Another band from France?
From France?
I think so.
We have been doing a lot of French bands lately.
We're not just picking French bands. We are picking the dark wave, cold wave, post-punk that's out there, and it just happens to come from France.
I guess the spring is just good for France.
Yeah. So this project was founded in 2019. So youngest band year that we have. The guy's name is Yannick. I don't think so.
Rolt. I think the youngest band that we did was actually earlier this year, Tomb of Love.
What?
They just formed that January.
What?
So this one's second youngest.
Not if they weren't formed in January, because even if they were formed in February, that would be the first youngest.
Well, let's do the math later.
Oh, yes. All right. Okay. So, Closed Mouth, if you pick up this album, it was actually released twice on Bandcamp. So it came out in March, just called One, and then it was released again in May, called Remastered with bonus tracks, and there are 14 tracks on the album now.
It is a long album. It took me 2 sit-throughs to get through it the first time because it is a rather long album.
I feel like it is a lot more on the post-punk side. I heard influences of simplistic 70s post-punk.
Yeah, I felt it had some of these really strong proto-goth vibes.
Yeah, I felt like I was, okay, this sounds like Joy Division. This part sounds like early Susie guitar style wise. But then when you hear the vocals, it is...
I felt they were a little Bauhaus.
There were a lot of vocal ranges, so I did hear some Bauhaus. But then there were others that were just like deep, moody, and then he had others where there would be multi-recorded vocals, like his voice doubled up, and shouty.
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned about the vocals, is that there's a lot of modulation that goes on the vocals, and the first track, when I listened to it, it really threw me off, but as the track progressed, as the album progressed, I liked this album right out of the gate. And I was really surprised at that, because usually whenever I hear vocals like that, I'm like, it's a little bit of a turnoff for me. But
the vocals were different on every song.
They were different on every song, and they were really well done. And it was definitely used more as an instrument, I think, in a lot of places, and I really appreciate that.
And then there were some tracks that I liked more than others because some of them started out with like a synth line, and then went into the post-punk, and there's a place in my heart for that. Let me see if I can remember what track that was.
I liked We Are Strangers.
Oh, so We Are Strangers was one of those that I thought had the higher pitched vocals that gave the Bauhaus feel.
Yeah, I liked the songs that had the Bauhaus feel the best.
And then You Own Me had this synth line in the back that sounded exactly like Xeno and Oaklander's The Light, the Whisper. So I loved that one.
The song "The Shadow Is Cast."
Oh, that
when
was
he
beautiful.
says that was a great song, but I had to laugh at it because every time that he came in saying "The Shadow Is Cast," it sounded like he was saying "Sherry is goth."
What, me?
Yes, that just made me crack up
Are you
every
kidding
single
me?
time. Let's listen to it later. I'll make you hear what I mean. Like, it was really funny
Now I know you're thinking about me.
all the time, 24/7.
Okay. All right. Good one.
But this was a great album. I think it's the guy who founded the band is Yannick Ralt. He is also in Triple Sun, Bluebeard's Castle, who also put out an album
This year?
This year, I think last month,
Oh, okay.
that I really enjoyed. So that was also a great album.
We might review that.
We should review that. Maybe we'll have a more like goth oriented episode next week.
As opposed to just a goth-oriented episode.
Yeah, well, we try to mix the genres that we have up, just to keep it a little bit interesting, because you don't want to listen to like 12 Cure-inspired bands every single week. That would get awful.
Then our reviews are all the same.
Yeah.
So this one sounded like The Cure.
Pornography era. This one sounded like The Cure.
Head on the door. All right, I think we're done.
Yeah, but this one was great. The influences were mixed perfectly. I want to talk about Cliff and Ivy.
Cliff and Ivy, the only goth band in Alaska.
I can see it. There's not a lot of people in Alaska in
I
terms
don't
of
think
space.
there's like 5 people there though.
I wonder what
there's,
maybe there's only nightlife in like Anchorage, maybe Juneau.
but I don't see how that's even possible. But okay, they're the only goth band, and they say so.
I have no reason
can't...
to doubt their claim. So Cliff and Ivy have been around for a while. I never really found anything that super stood out to me in their back catalog as throughout listening to them, but I was really into this EP. So it is Deathmask Devotion, 4 tracks long. This one I think was released on the 17th. Why do I think everything's released on the 17th?
I don't know. I think you're just making stuff up.
I
But
think so.
it is self-released on their own label called House of Extreme Darkness.
Is that what their label
Yes.
is called? Oh,
So
I
they
love it.
absolutely get points for that. I really like the death rock feel of the album artwork. I think that's what they're going for. Deathmask Devotion. So you have
Yeah, they have a shield with like stylized skulls and a bunch of
Bats and-
cobwebs and
snakes, and it's just great.
yeah.
It's just great. So 4 tracks. Very first track, you get a feel for the album with the song Exhibition. Heavy guitars. That's like the first thing that I see, like a big, like a just US goth rock feel. So I guess that is very steeped in death rock.
I love that track. That was a great track. The second track, Ohm, was also a really great track.
That seemed more traditional goth rock to
Yeah.
me. I really loved the vocals on that one. Then the next track, Velocity Drift, was the weirdest one. So I guess they had to go weird,
This was the one track I didn't like off of the EP. The guitars just really hit metal for me, and I wasn't so big on that.
I wasn't big on the vocals. It had dual vocals. I guess Ivy Silence is the vocalist. So you have female vocals, and she's doing both vocal tracks, but then they fall off of each other, and then they were almost like rapping. So that didn't really work for me.
Yeah, but I think that they rounded out the EP really strong with the 4th track, Otherness, which was a bit more spoken word, but I
enjoyed
really like the beats on it.
The tribal type of beats like reminded me of like something inspired by like Dead Can Dance or something like that.
That's a good comparison.
So as a whole, it showed you like 4 different styles that they could do within the gothic rock genre, and I think it worked really well for 4 tracks. And I would love to see what they would do with a full-length album.
Absolutely. Me too.
Last but not least, we're going to review Second Still with their new album, Violet Phase.
I have been waiting for this album for forever.
And it is Violet, right?
Yes.
Because I can't seem to tell the difference between...
It is Violet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was the thing? What was the one that came out that was called Violent and the
Violent Rains.
Oh yes,
that was
Mini Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Well,
so in the past, from Second Still, we have heard, I would say, more strongly Suzy and early 80s influenced vocals from the vocalist Suki-san, who is adorable and amazing.
Asian.
And if you
Suki-san.
haven't seen her really weird diner video with
Drab Majesty.
with Drab Majesty
I
and
saw
Antioch
that.
Arrow, it's bizarre. So
She's so cute.
she's so cute and she's a little weird, and I feel as though some of that weirdness got thrown into this album, but in a really great way. It was not at all what I expected from her vocals. It was, I don't even know how to characterize this. I listened to this album like 6 or 7 times, and I could not really characterize her vocals. They're a little stilted, but in a really good way.
They're unique. I don't know about stilted. I'd say that she has like a staccato canter
Staccato is a much better word.
to the vocal melodies.
Staccato is a much, much better word.
I've been waiting to use that word for so long. Thank you. So Second Still is from LA. That's where Drab Majesty's from too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably hang out and eat together all the time.
I'm sure everyone in LA knows each other.
So the album is tagged as cold wave, minimal wave. There's a lot of synths to the wave.
Mm-hmm.
Minimal wave may not be a genre, but it is now, and that's what I would call this.
What it is now, I would definitely call this minimal wave. I would also call it cold wave if
Yeah.
fully pressed. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I would. Our cold wave minimal synth expert off-screen executive producer may disagree, but he's not here, so oh well. So the first track that stood out, well, first of all, the first track is called Mouse.
It is called
I
Mouse.
like that song.
It's a good song.
Second track is called New Violet, and it has a really strange offbeat rhythm, and this is where I was like, this is staccato. Like, it's just like like a little bit like bouncy kind of I don't like a jazzy bohemian type of I don't know what I'm trying to say.
It was kind of no wave in that it had some really weird beat signatures.
No wave.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that might be the best way to describe like how exactly the beats worked, and I loved it so much. I was so skeptical of this album. I thought I might like really dislike it because the singles I was kind of like, nah. But then listening to it all together, it's just so perfect. It's just so perfect.
The next song I was thinking of was Double Negative.
Great song.
Like faster paced post punk.
I would spin Double Negative.
Yes, great post punk. There were a couple of tracks that were like that, and then it's Eternal Love was also like Double Negative with the upbeat post punk.
Yeah.
Another feeling that I got from the album, not all the tracks, just some of them, was like a 90s dream pop feel. And I don't know where I got this idea, but it just reminded me of something that you would hear like Switchblade Symphony. So
Okay.
like the guitars are a little.
There was a track that reminded
ethereal.
me specifically of Neverland, and I can't remember which one it was.
So there's one called Spiders and Lilies. No, sorry.
Spiders and Spies.
Spiders and Spies. I don't know why I was thinking Spider Lilies. 90s ethereal wave post-punk
That might
is
be
what
the-
I was thinking of how it was, with a dreamy, airy feel. Very different from the cold wave feel of like
I think that's
the New Violet song.
I think that's the track that I think reminded me of Switchblade Symphony's Neverland.
Yes, yeah. And then at the end, you have this track Ideals, and it goes back to that dream pop, dream wave kind of feel. And so those songs are mixed with the upbeat post-punk songs, mixed with a couple of random unconventional beats tracks. So you've just got like 3 different styles, but it all works together. It all sounds like it's the same band because her vocals bring everything together.
They really do. She is. I mean, like the song compositions are amazing with Second Still Always, but Suki-san just
Knocks
I
it
don't
out of the
know,
ballpark.
like what it is about her vocals, but she really is just like the driving force behind just what makes Second Still work like Second Still. And they are just they have such a unique sound, I think, too, and I love them so much.
So what's your favorite track?
My favorite track was probably Spiders and Spies was so good. I love Spiders and Spies. I also really love Double Negative.
I think I might go with Eternal Love because there's a music video for it. I didn't watch the music video yet, though, because we might review it together. But I did listen to it a lot.
We should review it together.
All right. And if you want to pick it up on vinyl, it is available on black,
Is it still on
clear, and violet.
Violet vinyl.
Yes. But the album cover with the backwards men heads, that creeps me out.
Does it really?
It creeps me out. Like I can see it in my head, like right now.
I like it. It's so exactly what you would expect out of like post-punk covers right now.
Really?
Like post-punk album covers. Yeah, haven't you ever gone through Bandcamp and looked at all the album covers and you're just like, I know what this one sounds like, and I know what this one sounds like, and I know what this one sounds like, just based on the album art?
I do love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love that.
I mean, it helps that you can tell everything that's on Detritus, because of the way that
it's all designed by the same dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And that wraps up our reviews.
If you liked our albums, let us know. If you have suggestions for other albums, let us know.
If you disagreed with our opinions in any way, shape, or form, let us know.
Don't keep it to yourself. Let us know.
Yeah.
That's what comments are for.
So last week we asked, what is your favorite quote unquote goth character from any media, be it books, movies, TV shows, whatever. And we got a lot of really great responses for that. So let's read some before we pick a winner. So the first one we got for favorite goth movie icon is Lisbeth Salander from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I've not seen that movie or read that book.
I've read the book, which was intriguing. Didn't think it worked that well as a movie. But David Fincher did the American version, and then there's a Swedish version, of course.
Is it better?
The Swedish version is a little bit better. Well, they're different. It's different.
Well, how's Lisbeth?
Lisbeth is gorgeous and wonderful.
Oh, great. So perfect goth icon?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
And that was suggested by Skullgirl, by the way. And then Lux Ex Nihilo says...
Danny
says favorite character is Death from the Sandman comics.
Here, he replies. I did ask her specifically which Death, and that would be probably the Chris Bachalo Death.
Cool.
I don't know. All the deaths are amazing.
All deaths are amazing.
Although none of the deaths, in my opinion, beat Dream as a cat.
Dream as a cat?
Mm-hmm.
But she's so cute.
But Dream as a cat.
But Dream.
Cat.
Oh, okay. Acid Bitter says, does D from Vampire Hunter D count? I say yes.
Yes.
Just in case, put me down for Lulu from Final Fantasy X. So Acid Bitter actually chose 2.
Well, at least he's the only one who picked a boy.
Okay, Astro Cat, which is a great handle, by the way, says favorite goth character has to be Nancy from The Craft.
Classic.
That's awesome.
Very classic.
Let's see.
You have to click replies on that one. Beth Rizoth says that his favorite goth character is Henrietta from the South Park Goths.
Oh my god! She was the best!
Yes.
But she did go through like an emo phase, so I don't know if I can forgive her for that.
Well, see, at least she managed to, back out of the emo phase, and she felt she was coerced into it, as opposed to Fergus, who willingly emoed.
Oh my goodness. Per se.
God, I love that.
And then there's Triana from Venture Brothers, also suggested by Beth Rizah.
Triana's pretty great.
Her dad is a necromancer. Dia Siculus says Lydia Dietz of Beetlejuice.
I asked her which Lydia Dietz,
Oh.
and she went with the animated version.
Cool. Is that the best one?
The animated version is the one with the big red poncho
Oh.
and poncho action.
Poncho.
Chris, what's your favorite Lydia?
Cartoon.
Why?
The poncho.
Is it the poncho?
She's like a goth Lisa Simpson.
Goth Lisa Simpson. Oh, I love that. I can get on board with that.
What would be your favorite? I didn't put any thought into the question, so I don't actually have an answer.
That's such.
either,
Oh
so.
God, I feel so put on the spot. I should have an answer to this. I think that my favorite goth character in anything.
Is it Eric Draven?
I'm gonna go with Lestat. He was a rock star. I can't go with Louis. He was too emo.
Oh my god. Lestat from Queen of Darkness.
You mean Queen of the Damned?
Queen of the Damned?
No, from Interview with the Vampire, where he was Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Or rather, where Tom Cruise was Lestat, not the other way around.
We're fucking this up.
All right, so let's pick a winner. It's Skullgirdle. We drew off camera. Sorry. We keep forgetting our fancy yeehaw drawing hat. But congratulations, Skullgirdle. You have won a copy of Hante's most recent album, Fierce, featuring such hits as Wild Animal.
And Respect.
Great album.
We should have them
Sorry.
scrolling from bottom to top, like as if we're trying to sell the album on Time Life.
I can't believe I'm
News.
back to saying Hante.
That's fine. We've been doing it for years.
I'm just gonna roll with it. But yes, such hits as.
Respect.
But congratulations. We will be in contact with you, or you will be in contact with us. Either way, you will get your album. We are not going to be doing a giveaway for this week. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break with it since we don't know what our schedule is up to, as we keep repeating. But we hope that you have enjoyed the giveaways, and we hope to start it back up soon.
Oh, we have to thank our patrons.
We have to thank our lovely, lovely patrons. So we have a new one this week. We do. Thank you, Dreaming Noctis.
Thank you, Skullgirdle.
Thank you, Acid Bitter.
Thank you, Cadaver Kelly.
Thank you, Dave Zoeser.
Thank you, Mason Shiver, which we just found out your name is pronounced Shiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Whoops. And speaking of names pronounced wrong, thank you, Diasiculus.
Thank you, Junkyard Bat.
Thank you, Bethrazoth.
And thank you, did we already do this? Jay Internus?
Jane Turnus. Well, if we haven't, thank you twice. Or if we have, I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
We really do appreciate all of your patronage. I mean, we appreciate every single person who gives to the channel. We actually have just bought our first piece of equipment, funded by our lovely, lovely patrons. And we're not getting that until a couple days from now, but we will take pictures and we will show you exactly what you were doing for the channel. And oh my God, thank you so much. It's an on-camera monitor. It's super fancy. We're going to actually be able to see ourselves when we talk instead of having to guess and squish in and try to make ourselves look like we're sitting up straight.
And we can fix our hair.
Oh yeah, that'll be a big thing. I mean, perfect.
All right, we're done.
We're done. Thanks for tuning in. As always, it's so much fun doing these. If you like what we're doing and you have fun with us, like this video, comment on this video.
Smash that like.
Smash the subscribe button. Smash all the buttons.
Visit our Patreon. Visit our website.
Mm-hmm.
And
consider giving to us on Patreon. That'd be great too. But we're Obscura Undead on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, which you are on our channel already, Twitter, everything pretty much on the internet. Come say hi. We're pretty friendly. And if you happen to see us at Treffin, come say hi then. We might be looking like we are now. We might not. But we're unrecognizable. We are one of a kind, Mouse.
I am.
All right. Good night and goodbye.
Bye.
Despair.